Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Kickin Show. I'm your show's host, Jerry Jordan, with co-host Seth Eggert and special co-host tonight, Zach Catanzarelli. We are glad to have you on the show from the Big Apple. You are big time, so thanks for joining us and gracing us with your awesomeness.
It's my Christmas gift for you, so you're welcome.
That's right. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Finally.
By the time this gets posted, it will be Christmas. So but man, I'm serious. I've missed you. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, it's been a while. You're pretty much the only guys I get to talk racing with, so I know a lot of friends up here on into racing. A lot of my family's not. My dad is, but he's not really ingrained within like the news and like certain drivers and teams and rumors and all that stuff. So getting on here, this is where I get to spill my guts and talk about racing. So I definitely look forward to another whole year of doing it with you guys every week next year.
Well, you're definitely you're part of the team, and we kind of talked about that a while ago, but I'm not letting you go, man. So so you're stuck with us. And Seth, how's things in Mooresville?
Things are going well right now. My sister just had another post-ops appointment, and she can actually start walking without crutches again. Yay!
Hey, that's a good thing.
She has another appointment in 6 weeks, which I believe puts it 1 week before the Daytona 500, if I remember correctly.
Excellent. Well, good. Good. Glad to see she is doing better. We're going to start the show off, and it's just some sad news today. One of our dearly beloved friends, Stephen Richards, or Steve Leibowitz, passed away at 12:38 a.m. this morning, or Wednesday morning. He had been battling COVID. Steve and I were out in Phoenix together, and we talked and had lunch on Thursday before the race. And he wasn't feeling the greatest, but it was mainly allergies, we thought. And then he gets back, and 3 days, we got back on Monday, and 2 days later, he was in the emergency room in the ICU, and he never went home after that. He was awake for a while, but after a few days, they put him into a medically induced coma to battle the damage that COVID had done to his lungs with pneumonia. And they took him off the ventilator last night, and he sadly did not make it. Steve was a very good friend of mine, very good friend to a lot of people in not only the racing community, but in the cat rescue community. He was very well known, big hearted guy for all animals, but really loved tortie cats. And he had 7. He was a cat dad. So we try to think of the happy times for him. But when I was in Charlotte, I basically lived at Steve's house. I had an apartment, or room with a bathroom and everything there. That's where I stayed for probably the past 7 years that I've covered racing. 7 or 8 of the past 7 of the past years. So he will definitely be missed. I've grown to love that guy, and I know that the racing community is putting together a celebration of life. It's going to happen at the Speedway, is my understanding. We don't know the exact date, but sometime after the first of the year. I'm hoping that they can do it around the time of the Hall of Fame or the NMPA Hall of Fame. I'll talk to those and keep everybody updated on kickinthitires.net as well, and obviously on our social media channels. And also today we lost Bob Keselowski, who in 1971 set a land speed record at the Bonneville Salt Flats. And Seth, you looked that up a while ago. 238.1,
278 point. You have me all mixed up. 271.8 miles per hour, and that was in 2018.
Oh, 2018. Okay.
And that was in the modified Dodge Charger, which, if I remember correctly, was the same car that Brian Keselowski made the Daytona 500 with back in, I think, 2011 or 2012.
2011. Yeah. I was there for that. That was a big deal, because Brad actually bought him tires, I think, for the race. I think Brad donated some tires to him or something.
Yeah. And I never got to see Bob race, but that day in 2011 was like as a fan, one of my memories of Bob, because he had not only Brian, but he had his other son Brad pushing Brian and getting that small pale white 92 Dodge and driving him into the Daytona 500, and he was up there crying because it was like one of the best days of his life. And yeah, really, really sad day. It shocked me, but I was very happy to see Brad do a nice heartwarming post, and he was able to share a lot of childhood photos and photos, they didn't have to share it. I really appreciate when they open up like that. And yeah, that's heartbreaking. I feel really sorry for that whole family because they're such a racing family. We've seen a lot of them over the years, and yeah, it's just very sad.
Yeah, that's the Keselowskis have been around racing for a long time, and from the Michigan area, and just sad to see we're losing people, as we get older and they get older. It's inevitable, but it's not something you want to deal with. You just pick up the pieces and move on.
Yeah, I got to see Bob race, I think twice, once at Flemington and once at Nazareth, way back when in the Truck Series. And I remember pulling for him because he was the only Dodge in the field. Like, I didn't understand why he was the only Dodge. I was maybe 4, 5, 6 years old back then. But to me, he was an underdog, so I rooted for him. The most memorable quote I will probably have of him is
I know what you're gonna say.
After Carl Edwards.
Yeah.
At Milwaukee. And funny enough, Carl Edwards was actually on Sirius XM today, and he was wishing Brad, Brian, and the whole Keselowski family well, and that he hoped Bob was doing well. It was maybe 20 minutes after it was announced that Bob had passed away, and he was told on air by Larry Mack and Daniel Trotta, and I think that's the first time I've ever heard Carl really be emotional on air before.
Carl is a great guy and a heart of gold, and I haven't talked to him probably in 3 or 4 months, 2 or 3 months. No, I talked to him at Phoenix, but not at depth. We just talked about Daniel Hemrick's backflip, but he you couldn't have found a better guy in racing, honestly. Carl was genuine, and so I feel bad for him, and having to find out on air like that, when you're wishing somebody well, is that's a tough thing to deal with. So hearts and prayers go out to everybody, and like I said, with regarding Steve, we'll keep you updated on his situation with what the family's going to do and things like that. Seth, Zach, I know both of you guys knew Steve, and he was always there to help, and always had batteries. So
yeah, I think I only remember speaking to him maybe twice. I think, didn't he stay in an Airbnb at Daytona? It was like a big group of us. I thought maybe he was there. Maybe I'm getting them mixed up with Mark.
Garrow stayed with us, but Steve stayed with us too.
Okay, yeah, I think it was that year that I stayed with the whole group. We also went to the White House. We covered the White House event.
That's right.
And he was there, and I kind of went around and kind of interviewed. There was quite a few of us NASCAR guys who went out to cover that in 2019, and he was one of the guys who I interviewed just to get their thoughts on what that event was like, what it was like to see the president, there, and to be at the White House and have Joey Logano, who was the champion at the time, and he was just like the rest of us. It was just an honor to, just some kid who just loved racing, and all of a sudden you're covering these big events and living out your dreams. So he was a great guy.
Yeah, for me, the last time I really got a chance to talk to him was actually at the Charlotte Roval test for the next gen car. I want to say the two of us were mainly talking because it was during one of the breaks, and also we were talking history. We were both talking about I want to say it was the Holocaust Museum and different artifacts that both his family and my family had, and we were kind of joking about things he wouldn't expect us to have that we have in different places. So,
and I know what you're talking about. And for those that don't know, Steve and Seth were both Jewish, and so I know some of those artifacts that you and he share, and that special bond that you guys had. So that's that makes me feel good that he opened up to you about that type of stuff, because he didn't always he would talk to anybody, but he didn't always share stuff like that. So that was that's really cool. And Steve was responsible for me making national radio stuff with doing the show with Mark Garrow, Garage Pass every day. Did that for 3 years. It lasted longer than most people thought I would. And
so he's to blame all this time.
Do what?
He's to blame. He's the one who we should be blaming.
Yeah. So but Seth, good segue for you. That's a radio term that Steve, you were at the next gen test for the Roval, but you were at the next gen test last week as well, right? Or covered it from
you were kind of there from afar. I covered it
kind of there. You were there. You were way there more than I was.
They ran has to be 6 different configurations of packages. They ran a 550 with a 6-inch centered spoiler, then with a 6-inch offset spoiler, then with a 4-inch spoiler. Then they went to a 670 package with the offset spoiler and a centered spoiler.
How about an 800 horsepower, no spoiler?
NHRA.
I'm just saying.
Happy drivers.
Yeah.
No splitter, 800 horsepower, no spoiler.
Well, either way, we're going to have happier drivers. How about that?
Yeah, we ended up with a 670 package with a 4-inch spoiler.
A 4-inch centered spoiler, yes.
Okay.
Which I was doing comparisons to previous years with qualifying and practice, depending on when the packages were used. And the lap times for the 670 4-inch spoiler were comparable to the 2019 Coke 600 practice.
Okay.
Would have been somewhere between 15th and 20th on the timesheets, which that seems slow. However, there's a lot of handling that those cars have to have.
Right.
It to quote Brad Keselowski, it reminded him of the Gen 4 stock cars from 2005.
Okay.
So if that's the case, that was, according to some people, that was some of the best racing that the Cup Series has had.
I was going to say, everybody I hear about says, let's go back to 2003, 2005, and that 2006, that era. So, let's go back to the mid 2000s. That's what the purists have told me. Zach, you're kind of a purist. You're a history buff of the sport. So what do you think?
Well, then again, in the 2000s, everyone was complaining that they wanted it to be like the 80s. And then the people in the 80s looking out like Lee Petty, like, oh, those are the guys. This Kerry Yarborough, he's not a real racer. Like, it always changes with the time. But that's something that NASCAR really had to do. I think once you hear from the drivers and the teams and the fan, I mean, I guess the fans wouldn't know that much right now because we don't have 40 cars testing. But yeah, if they went with a 550, I would have been totally shocked. Like that would have flown me off because just what the drivers have been saying. And, I feel like they know what's best. They want to be able to pass, no one wants to be stuck behind each other and not be able to move. And I've found some benefits over the years of it being difficult to pass because you tend to find longer battles, instead of everyone passing each other and they're in the correct order and all spread out. Now you got guys who are stuck behind each other. You see longer battles. You see more aggressive moves on restarts, more aggressive moves on pit road to get track position. So there are positives, but you want to have cars that are able to move around the tracks, and you want them to sound good and look good. And we got that figured out. But now you want to give the guys ample room to be drivers and to have that matter as well. So a lot of different tracks being thrown at them. I think the Clash obviously is going to be a unique kind of curveball for them that we might not see throughout the year. I mean, you got Martinsville and Bristol, but nothing's really going to be quite like that track. And once you hit the road courses and what we're going to see at Daytona, Atlanta, we have no idea. We're going to find out about that in a couple of weeks on what package they're going to use. So it's a lot that's being thrown at them. And, you can say they had an extra year because of, the virus and everything, but it was also more difficult to get things planned out throughout that time because the whole sport, the whole world was kind of in a flux. So difficult time. I'm sure they wish they can go back and do it earlier, but I think as the years have progressed, they're more ready now than they would have been back then because of just how technology as innovated. So good to see these changes, and I think this last couple of weeks were a big step in the right direction.
I talked to Kyle Petty, I mentioned on last week's show, and I haven't written the story yet because no one else has the story. So I think I'll write that this week going into Christmas, and just so we have some fresh content on the website. Aside from all of the stuff that Seth does from iRacing, because I feel like the poor guy's carrying us right now.
I have another 2 stories coming.
But by the way, Zach, you said something interesting a while ago, and I just want to clarify this. You mean in 2000, and I was in the sport in 2004. So, but in 2004, you mean the fans were complaining about something?
Yeah, people tend to, even when social media wasn't a thing, I guess you hear it a lot more nowadays, but
Sure.
Yeah, people usually aren't that happy.
You know, I find that our NASCAR fans tend to be upset people a lot. And I don't know why. And I can't
if you go anywhere. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not stirring the pot or anything, but you know, I think Kyle Petty said it best. Fans, drivers, media, back off. We got to fix this. We got to get it right. And it may take a little while. And this may be a throwaway season in some regards, because we may be making changes all the way up to race, 27. But we got to get it right, because this is the biggest change in the history of NASCAR. We've never done this type of thing before, and it's huge. So let's all take a deep breath. I'm going to vow right now that we're not going to start just beating people up left and right, and trying to criticize them. We're going to talk to NASCAR, and we're going to ask questions. We're going to say, hey, what's the situation here? As a matter of fact, in January, we're going to have a couple of NASCAR officials on the show. So Zach, you may want to come back if you so inclined, because you're welcome every week. We hope you're here all 52 weeks of the year. So so definitely think about that. But it's going to be an interesting year. It's going to be an interesting year for Seth too, because I'm going to make him do some other stuff besides iRacing. So, but right now,
trust me, I'll be doing more than just
that's all we've got right now. So, other than the Clash, they did break ground on the Clash, and it looked kind of interesting out there at the LA Coliseum. But Seth, tell us what's the big iRacing news, real quick, and I guess what are we sponsoring? I don't even know anymore.
Well, we're sponsoring the Chad Frankenfield and the Elite Racing League, which their season starts, I believe, first week of January, if not the second week of January. In Monday Night Racing, Adam Cabot won. I finished 18th. I had a fuel strategy that had it gone caution-free it had to be the last 100 laps or so, that I was going to finish somewhere between 3rd and 6th.
That's a bold strategy, Cotton. 100 laps with no caution on iRacing?
Well, here's the thing. After the final pit stop, I was only a half lap short.
Wow.
And other people had short pitted. The only 2 other cars on my strategy, Justin Melillo, who had enough fuel, and Michael Massey, who had enough fuel.
Okay, who won?
Adam Cabot.
Okay.
After, it had to be like 6 cautions in the last 20 laps.
Hey, was Kyle racing?
Yes.
Kyle showed up. Okay.
Yes. And he was involved in, I think, 3 wrecks.
Was he mad?
He never piped up on the voice chat, so I don't know.
Okay. Because you know what I've got, right? You saw.
Yeah, I saw.
Okay.
And I was gonna say, you have a new Alienware PC. I have a new Artesian build PC. So I believe I have 4 terabytes of a solid state hard drive, 500 gigabyte hard drive, NVIDIA 2060 graphics card. So basically, I upgraded my computer for the first time in 8 years.
Well, I'm using mine right now for the show, and we're gonna upgrade. We're even gonna upgrade the Alienware. We're gonna put 64 gigs of RAM in it. We're gonna put a couple of terabyte hard drive in it, and we're gonna make it sing. And it's gonna be fun to go iRacing again. I actually turned the machine on and downloaded everything the other day, And
I saw.
special thanks. We're working on a partnership with the iRacing folks. We've been trying to get that together, and COVID was crazy, and then their stuff was crazy. But we're going to work on a partnership with Steve and Kevin and those guys, and I appreciate everything they do for us. And hopefully they realize that we are committed to the iRacing platform.
And there's two other pieces of iRacing news. For one, they acquired Drag, which is a drag racing, if I'm not mistaken, a drag racing video game company.
That'll be cool because maybe I'll have a chance to win that. I've got pretty good reaction time.
And last night was the season finale of the eNASCAR Contender iRacing series, which helps make up the Coke Series grid for next year.
Did I have anybody in there that I was sponsoring?
No.
Darn. How come? How did you let that happen?
Because the only person who was looking for sponsorship asked for $1,200
For one race?
for 7 races.
Yeah, it's a little high. Who was it?
Well, he made the series, so I'd rather not say.
Okay.
I will say this, though. I do want to congratulate Malik Ray for making the series. He initially was out on a tiebreaker.
If they would have said 500, I'd have jumped.
I could see that. But Malik Ray was out on a tiebreaker. Bob Bryant from Parker Klingerman's team
Set out.
He announced he was retiring.
Yeah, I saw that. It's like, what? He retired.
He
retired from iRacing of all things.
He's been on iRacing for a while, so it was just time.
Okay.
So that puts Malik Ray in. He was essentially been the first alternate in case somebody else had to back out mid-season, which has happened before. Granted, all of this is unofficial because it still has to be certified by both NASCAR and Tyler D. Hudson, who's the race director for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series.
Well, I am trying to put a team together to race over there. It's hard to get all of that data together to find out how to do that. But we will definitely keep the fans updated and let you know what's going on with that. Any other news, or is that a wrap on iRacing?
I do also want to mention that Colin Keister won the championship last night.
Okay.
After finishing 31st, his first finish outside the top 10 all season long. The reason why that happened, in a caution-free race, he hit the cone on pit entrance and got an unsafe pit entrance penalty.
Oh.
But that counted as his drop week, so he still won the championship with 7 points to spare.
There you go.
And that is the second consecutive championship for North Force Racing, the team he runs with.
Awesome. Good for them. Zach, what about you? We got any silly season news? Anything going on with teams, drivers switching around? I know it's going to be a short show tonight because, it's a Christmas. We got 3 days before Christmas, and just kind of wrapping things up. And I know everybody wants to go spend time with their families. So, but what's happening in your world?
I only saw 2. I was literally just going down the news before the show. A couple of things in the truck series. There was Coy Heim, who's going to return to Kyle Busch Motorsports. I believe he's doing 15 races, which is not the full season, but most of it. He can definitely use that time behind the wheel. I felt like he only did a few races last year, but he was pretty impressive. I think he led at Darlington on his debut, if I got that right. And obviously he killed it in the ARCA series, but Ty Gibbs was there, so he wasn't able to win the title, as most people would with 6 wins and top 5s in nearly every race. But he did a great job. I mean, he made that ARCA series, pretty exciting throughout the year. And if it wasn't for him, it would have been just a throwaway title all season long. But he kept Ty on his heels all season, and I think that definitely got Kyle Busch's attention, and he's expanding, the opportunities for him next year. And I think the other one was Jesse Little. He's going to Young's Motorsports after he was full-time in Xfinity last year, and he did most of the season this year. Obviously, he has years of experience in trucks, but never got that full-time ride. He's kind of been in and out, and he'll be making his first start, I think, at Daytona, and anything can happen at Daytona. I mean, we had a Young's Motorsports guy win at Talladega last year, and they won that twice at Dega in the last couple of years. So that could be the race that gets his name on the board, and hopefully you can get a more competitive opportunity, or at the very least help Young's get to that next step in the Truck Series. So a couple nice young guys there getting opportunities in the Truck Series. That's what that season. That's what that series is for.
And there was also a little bit in the Xfinity Series. Our Motorsports announced that Brett Moffitt is returning. It's going to be joined by Anthony Alfredo and Jeb Burton. And also a little bit of a blast from the past. JC Stout announced he's going to field a team part-time for 10 to 12 races. He bought an old Joe Gibbs Racing chassis. And then at the end of the press release, he also mentioned that he's running for governor of New York.
Governor Stout. Okay.
I'm betting there's some political motivations there as well. I did just get we're on the shortened version of the Zoom platform tonight.
Yeah.
So that I'm going to upgrade as soon as we hang up. But we have 8 minutes left. But I do want to say something, because since Seth brought this up, he wants Seth, you want to do some bold predictions in 2021. I've got two, and I'm not going to elaborate a whole lot on them, but I do have two. And then we'll have a whole big show on this in 2022. But for 2022, I'm going to say Corey LaJoie wins a race, and I'm going to say that our guy Brandon Brown wins another race. So those are my two bold predictions for 2022.
And here I'll hint at my three, because I have one for each series. Haley Deegan wins a race. Landon Castle wins a race. And Bubba is the first Toyota driver to win a points race in 2022.
That's bold. Zach, have you thought about this at all?
I haven't at all. I just looked a couple days ago at the it was like the silly season kind of rundown of every Cup Series driver who's like confirmed for this year, and there was a few that came to mind. I wish I had the list in front of me, because I was going down and I'm like, oh, I feel like he's gonna kill it. He's gonna do great. I think he's not gonna do as good as people think he's gonna do. I had some ideas, but it's not in front of me right now. I hope it's like a shocking year. Like, I feel like last year had those type of moments where, so we got surprise winners and first time winners. And I mean, all across the national campaign, Trucks Xfinity Cup, there was so many new winners, and it really kept you kind of engaged all throughout the year. So I wish I had something off the top of my head, but I do like the predictions about Bubba there. Brandon Brown, he's got a new spotter we just found out today with TJ Majors. He knows how to get guys to victory lane, so why not help him out again this year?
By the way, are you going to be able to be our liaison with Brandon next year, because we're going to continue our partnership with those guys?
Good question. Yeah, I wanted to talk to Mac and kind of figure that out on what my timetable will be like, what my availability is. We were just talking pre-show about what my schedule is for racing. I'm not sure yet, so yeah, we'll get that figured out and see if we can. But if not, we can figure something out, because that's good that we're going to be with them again.
Yeah, we're going to partner up with them again. We'll be on a hauler. We're probably going to be on the car again. Not sure how, or if it's going to be a hood sponsorship, because there's some things in the works that I'm not allowed to talk about. But if we can get on the hood, obviously we want that, and I'll let y'all know. But we definitely are partnered with them for 2022. And let's see, the only other news that's happening, and it's just a couple days, the Tulsa Shootout starts, and then obviously we roll into the Chili Bowl. But Tulsa Shootout starts in a couple of days. Christopher Bell is going to go up there and race. Haley Deegan is going to race, and our guy Ryder Wells, who finished the race, he made it to the A main last year. And I think he finished 19th. I can't remember. But pretty bold strategy for him to never enter it was his first year, his rookie year in micros, and he makes the A main at the Tulsa Shootout. He's not going to be in it this year. He's getting a brand new A-class car, non-restricted. So he wanted to drive the car before he actually took it out there and raced it. They're going to have the car at the shootout on display because Sawyer, the chassis builder, said that this is one of the baddest cars that they built, and they want to show it off to all the other drivers. So Ryder is going to go up there and kind of walk around and maybe we'll do some photo stuff and things like that, but he's not going to race. So I'll probably be going to Tulsa next week and doing that. And other than that, we've got Christmas in 3 days. Merry Christmas to you guys. Seth, Happy Hanukkah's already passed, but you were going to sing me Jingle Bells. You've got 3 minutes and 34 seconds to sing me Jingle Bells.
No one wants to hear me sing. No one wants to hear me sing.
Come on, I'll start it off for you. 1, 2.
He's gonna clip this out and post that on YouTube, so be careful.
I know better. That's why I'm not doing it.
Well, guys, thanks for coming on the show tonight. We didn't lose Justin. He's just it's travel season, at Christmas time, and he's out in California doing stuff with his family, and they are fixing to be moving, from what I understand. So God bless them and in their safe travels. Zach, love you, man. Glad you were on the show. Glad you're going to be a part of Kicking the Tires in 2022. And you've got, as I've told you before, you've got a home here for as long as you want to put up with me.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I think I have another year in me.
Oh, good. At least.
Yeah.
NASCAR fans, Kicking the Tires fans, follow us on social media. Give us a like on the and a subscription on the YouTube channel, and have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We're going to take next weekend off, and we will see you in 2022.